I'm scared, Pancho.
Bullshit. You ain't afraid of no man.
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man.
Over here.
Hello and welcome to Seismic Cinema. I'm your host, James, aka Yautya. I think that's how you pronounce that, I'm not too sure. And I'm joined with Grief Carger, aka Colin. How you doing, mate?
Not bad, thanks.
And lastly, we've got Paul, aka Sergeant Mac. How you doing, mate?
I'm gonna have me some fun.
I was wondering when that quote would come up. Aye, legend.
All good, man. I'm glad we're actually reviewing a good movie this week as well. Hee.
What are you saying?
What?
What are you saying about Rebel Moon?
Oh, Rebel Moon, that sucked balls. Anyway, but if anyone wants to listen to the review, go back to episode 104.
That brings me on to the next bit then. So I'm going to do a wee bit of housekeeping then. So if you're interested in getting to know what we thought about Rebel Moon that we did last week, and the week before that we did Wonka. You can find us on Seismic Cinema on Twitter, Facebook. I keep calling it Twitter. I should really start calling it X, but old habits die hard, I suppose.
I call it Twitter still. I call it Twitter.
Aye. Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, and you can find them all as well on YouTube, guys. So we're got a wee surge in subscribers over the last week or two. So we're sitting at 121 subscribers now. We're aiming to get to 150 by the middle of the year. So if you're going to watch a video or hear us, talk about films and that, then just hit the subscribe button, guys. It takes 2 minutes. Okay, so thanks very much for all the folk who have supported so far. And you can also buy us a coffee as well, folks. If I can find the wee tab, there we go. I still haven't got my new mic yet. The plan was to get the mic for today, but I didn't have time to get it. So help us grow the channel again. buymeacoffee.com/seismic cinema. Okay. So again, just going back to last week, guys, we reviewed Rebel Moon. That's received quite a divisive kind of reaction, I think. But check it out because our pod was just as long as the film, so go for that.
And 100 times better.
Well, I'm glad you said that, mate. It is 100 times better. Go back and listen to that, guys, and Wonka as well. So thanks very much. So moving on to the next bit. So we are a member of what's called a PodPack collective. It's a group of indie podcasters trying to, make a difference in the indie podcast society. So if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can do that now. You'll see the members of that PodPack collective. So a shout out to Chat Tsunami, Casting Views, Review It Yourself, Two Girls in One Reusable Cup, Nostalgic Podcast, and Stop, Drop, and Roll Initiative Podcast, which is a podcast on Dungeons and Dragons. So go ahead and check them out, guys. Follow them on all the socials. Give them a subscription on YouTube as well, guys. So they'll very much appreciate it.
Welcome to Shatsunami, a variety podcast that discusses topics from gaming and films to anime and general interests.
Previously on Shatsunami, we've analysed what makes a good horror game, conducted a retrospective on Pierce Brosnan's run as James Bond, and listened to us take deep dives into both the Sonic and Halo franchises.
Also, if you're an anime fan, then don't forget to check us out on our sub-series, Chatsunani, where we dive into the world of anime. So far, we've reviewed things like Death Note, Princess Mononoke, and the hit Beyblade series.
If that sounds like your cup of tea, then you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and all good podcast apps.
As always, stay safe,
stay awesome, and most importantly,
stay hydrated.
Okay.
You did very well there, James.
Aye. Can
I share a quick wee stat in terms of we talked about subscribers earlier? 61% of our watch time is from people that haven't subscribed versus 39% who have. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Come on, people, get watching.
subscribe. I was just going to say there, Colin, that thanks for the compliment, mate. Standing in front of the mirror, talking in front, is paid dividends. So, hi, thanks. So
you should host every week.
No thanks.
You can if you want.
It's not fair doing that. I'll give other people a shot. So this week we are reviewing the 1987 film Predator, that stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Jesse Ventura, Bill Duke, Sonny Landham, to name but a few, and there's also the mention of Kevin Peter Hall, who actually played Predator through the film. So if you haven't seen this film, I've got no idea where you've been, because it is an absolute belter. And we'll go on to discuss it, obviously, in more detail. But just to give you a wee kind of introduction to the film, so the synopsis of it, so it's team of commandos arrive, I think it's South America, could be wrong, Central America, South America.
South America, yeah.
South America, on a rescue mission. Not long after they find out they've all been set up and been sent there under false pretenses. As they begin to find out who killed the previous teams, they realise they're being hunted by something not of this world. Okay, so the budget for this film is 15 million. 15 million. And it made just more than 98 million back. So it's done no bad.
Just a slight success.
I didn't realise this person was a director actually until I did a wee bit of digging around it. But do any of you know who directed this film?
Oh, I do.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
I forgot his name, but I know what else he directed.
Oh, do you? That was my next question. So where else did he direct in?
Die Hard.
He did.
Is it his name? John McTiernan? Is that his name?
Johnny McTiernan, aye.
See, I did my research this time around after last week.
John McTiernan.
I thought you would have known that just off the bat with your love for both films.
Who?
James.
Oh, James.
No, I've got. I know. I just forgot. It's that way where you just kind of forget things. It's old age. You'll come to you. He also directed Last Action Hero as well. So, so that was a wee surprise. And I'm going to be talking about the kind of camera shots throughout the film as well. But you can tell that there's quite a lot of kind of similarities between Die Hard and the way that this film's shot as well. Okay, so moving into the actual before I go into the actual review, I want to kind of get your thoughts on when you were first introduced to this film. I'll start with yourself, Paul.
I think I mentioned this in a previous pod. I think this is one of these movies I watched when I was like super young. This is probably, I'd say, mid to late 90s. Just my dad would put on TV and like, "Here, son, do you know it's just an action movie?" Like, yes, I do, and absolutely blew me away, because like, I used to love like certain like kind of military related or like monster movies and stuff, and then it's just like smashed the two together, and yeah, absolutely loved it. See the bit where they're just shooting into the forest, I was like, this is my movie, this is my kind of movie. But yeah, mid to late 90s when I was a wee kid. Probably watched it far too young than I should have, but it was well worth it, and it kind of brought me into it, because I've watched this before. I've seen like Alien and stuff like that, so this was my first kind of proper Alien movie, like extraterrestrial movie that I watched. So yeah, my kind of nerdy side with Star Wars and stuff. This is also the kind of side of it which I love. So yeah, that was when I first got introduced to it.
I liked how you changed your phrase there. You were about to say Alien, and then you went extraterrestrial. Yeah, you can't get those two mixed up, even though there was an awful film thereafter. Colin, what about yourself?
Well, it won't come to much of a surprise to you. Well, I actually watched like the first half hour of this like a couple of years ago or last year, and I didn't stop watching it because I didn't like it. It was more just like sometimes you just start watching something and then you go to bed because it's late, or stuff happens. So then this was the first time I've actually watched it the whole way through. So I guess it'll bring an interesting mixture. It's also interesting hearing all these movies Paul watched when he's a kid. It really kind of makes sense in terms of how Paul ended up now.
My personality.
I
messed up, man.
I've seen like the first 3 Alien movies, if that's the right phrase, or Aliens. Probably Aliens better. So I'd always heard of this. Like, I've never seen Alien versus Predator, and I don't know if it's worth watching. But I'd always heard Predator in relation to the Alien movies because of the kind of crossover aspect.
Aye, I seen this when I was young as well, maybe 10 to 12-year-old. Like, probably should have been watching it at the time, but it was on television. And it was just I think what captured me anyway at the time when I was younger, it was like this alien, and then some of the funny quotes, even when Alien, when the Predator, I've said Alien, when the Predator is looking, you can see obviously the heat detection, and you get the point of view of the Predator. That always stuck in my head. It was really good. And then you hear what stuck in my head probably more than that when I was growing up watching the film was the quote at the end that what Arnold Schwarzenegger says to him when the Predator takes his helmet off.
Yeah.
So that was one. So you feel free to say it if you want, but it's certainly one that I always remember hearing, and I always refer that film to that quote and that quote to that film. So Paul and I seen it when we were younger, and Colin a couple of years ago.
Well, technically this week, but I saw like half an hour of it or 40 minutes of it a couple of years ago.
Right.
Okay. And just see when you're saying like stuff like it kind of stuck with you, like when I first watched it when I was a wee kid, like you're saying, like the heat vision, like I'd never seen anything like that before, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And the cloaking technology for the Predator itself, like never seen anything like that. I was just like, it just blew my mind when I was younger, and then that just kind of stuck with me ever since, like that. And Predator 2, I think we should do Predator 2 at some point as well, because I love Predator 2. We should do that. I will sacrifice one of my picks for Predator 2 in the coming months.
Which ones in the franchise are worth checking out?
Predator, Predator 2, Alien versus Predator to a point. Alien versus Predator 2 is absolute dog dirt.
So were they always intended to be in like the same universe, or was it just like a decision they made for that movie?
I think it was something in comics or something like that. I think in Predator 2 there's an Easter egg at the end where they've got like a skull of an alien xenomorph in the ship as if they've hunted it before. And then I think that just kind of opened up the idea to kind of shared universe, and then that's when the crossover came. Like I was saying, AVP 1's okay. AVP 2's awful. The one that's on Disney, Prey, that's really good. I'd recommend watching that.
That's quite new. It's quite new, isn't it?
Yeah, just last couple of years.
Yeah.
I gave that film a 10 out of 10. Prey. I thought it was fantastic. Aye. No, so the Predator 1 and 2. This one's the best one. Predator 2 is it's good. Set in the city, and it's got Danny Glover in it as well.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got Alien vs Predator. I went to the cinema to see that. So I did when it came out, and it was all right. But that's where it stops for me. When the Prey is good, I wouldn't go and check out the Predator.
I forgot about that.
I've seen some people on X slating that one, so yeah.
Yeah,
it's mental.
Adrian Brody, I think, is that his name?
Oh, that one's alright. That's called
The Predators.
Predators,
but
that's one with Off-World. That one's actually, I'd actually quite like that one, I must admit.
Yeah. That's the one that he's got the boy, he takes the helmet, and he's got Halloween, isn't it, and all that sort of stuff.
Aye, that's the Predator. That's written by Shane Black, who's in this movie.
Ah, that's right.
Hawkins.
The director of Iron Man 3.
Oh, did he do that? Did he?
Oh, there you go.
I didn't know that. That explains why that's rated as well.
Because he's in this film, isn't he?
Aye.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Hawkins, Specky.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
He, he's the first one to die, actually. Hawkins. Anyway,
It's always
so
Always me.
I'm just going to kind of pick out key scenes. I wasn't going to go through the film, bit by bit, but I think there's a few key scenes. But see, before I go into the actual scenes of it, what did you think of the actual pace of the film? Do you think it was too slow? Do you think it was the right pace, or do you think there wasn't enough action? So I'll go with Paul this time.
I went first last time.
I would just wait for you to say that.
Are you saying that's what I said it, man?
Paul went again.
I bet.
Time.
I bet again.
Well, I'm going with it anyway, so.
Boo earns.
I think the pacing is just right for this film, to be honest. I think it starts off, just getting to know everybody, and I just like the way it evolves, because it goes from like a cool kind of almost like a Vietnam kind of movie, like just riding in a helicopter. They got an objective in mind. They come across some spooky stuff, but they're not too bothered by it, because I think it's just the local forces. And then the big action set piece where they're taking out all the soldiers, it's just like a typical 80s action movie, you know what I mean? It's not pretending to be anything that's not. It's just like, it's almost like a Commando-esque kind of movie. It's just like over-the-top explosions, people flying everywhere. It's just great. Things are exploding that shouldn't explode. It's like a Michael Bay movie. And then the movie just kind of flips on its head, and it kind of turns into a horror movie where they're being stalked. After that, the action ramps up again when he faces the predator.
What do you think of the pace of the film?
Paul said all the things I could possibly have said, so
That's fine. I was to say that
Nah. I'm only joking.
okay, there you go then.
No, I thought it was well paced. As Paul was saying, it had a really kind of feel good vibe in the first kind of 10 minutes. Like there was good camaraderie between the fighters, and I like the song as well. Long Tall Sally.
Yeah, that's what I
On the
said.
way in.
Yeah.
I think it's a good length of movie, because if we're comparing this to what we reviewed last week, which was like 2 hours 20 minutes, this was about 1 hour 40 roundabout.
About that, aye.
So yeah, I thought it was well paced. I didn't really think it kind of had any lulls. I think it kind of kept going. I maintained the interest of the viewer as it went along.
Aye, I watched it again. So when you kind of cuts to them, going to see Dylan, in CIA, and then after he agrees to go in the rescue mission, it cuts to them in a helicopter, and they're almost in the jungle. Do you know what I mean? So there was no kind of, no dead scene, no dead air, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was right there, and then into the helicopter, and that whole helicopter scene. They're all getting prepared to go into battle, essentially. I love that scene, and like I say, the diegetic music and the scene was good as well.
Apparently, the bit where Mac was shaving, apparently that was improv. I was reading.
Right.
So they were trying to come up with a technique so that he was bleeding essentially while he was shaving.
All right. Well, there you go. You can fling a bit of trivia when you go through the scenes, mate. Good. No. So and then you get a few good quotes on the helicopter as well. You get
some of them are not safe for podcast.
No, definitely not. But Hawkins I think it was Hawkins that's getting the jokes.
Yeah, the shite jokes, aye.
But aye,
trying to impress Billy.
Aye, that's it. When you get Jesse Ventura as well, who he was in the wrestling in the 80s with Hulk Hogan and that. So and he was good as well. He's also in another Arnold Schwarzenegger film, The Running Man.
That's a good movie.
Aye, so
I will also give up one of my picks for Running Man.
Oh, you only get one swap out.
So I
Still got another 6 months to plan for. So
No, right, okay.
So I'll come to you then, Paul, because Colin and I have just kind of spoke about the helicopter scene there. But what did you think of that scene? You know, because I was saying there when they met Dylan, you know, to agree to the rescue mission, it kind of cuts right into the helicopter, and it was a kind of good scene. You get the jokes and that, and you get the kind of the banter between them. So what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Kind of shows the camaraderie between everybody, and they've all got their own wee quirks, their own wee kind of patterns and triangles of relationships there. Like you see Hawkins trying to impress Billy. You see that Mac and Blaine have got like quite a kind of brotherly relationship. Everyone kind of knows about Dylan, I think, but Dylan's just shady as it is. Did you talk about the big kind of high five? Did you talk about that yet? No.
Well, yeah, come on, wait till you come in. So
I didn't realize that's where that gif came from.
Did you not? It's just too much
No,
people.
I've seen it quite a lot. Yeah.
aye,
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Dylan, you son of a bitch. That's just
How great is Carl Weathers though? Can we just? I know you're saying the character's a bit shady, but he's a great actor, isn't he?
Aye. My mate went to a Star Wars festival and he met Carl Weathers and
Oh man.
he got the handshake thing we did, so that was decent. And he put it on the group chat. So that was.
But did he beat him in the arm wrestle part of it?
You know, it probably would have done. The fact that Carl Weathers is an older man now, to be fair. My mate was in the army, so aye.
I'm sure I had some trivia or something that Carl Weathers and Arnie were like properly working out in between takes and all that to make sure they were like pure toned up for these scenes and that, so one could look bigger than the other or something. I think it was A2. It might have been Jesse Ventura, but I'm pretty sure it was Carl Weathers and Arnie. They were just like working out constantly so they wouldn't look smaller than the other person.
I read one where like I think maybe it was Carl Weathers, or maybe it wasn't. Can't remember, but it was like his arms were like bigger than Arnold's, but it turns out Arnold had agreed to like tell the lie to make him feel better or something. It was something like that.
Oh, that might have been what I was talking about. Then I might have just made up the whole shite about.
I think they were doing that as well. But I think like they were basically playing pranks on each other and like winding each other up as well.
I see. Okay.
I said diegetic music. So that you know what that is, Colin? That's part of my essay writing. I did these things for movies.
I was just pretending I knew what it meant. So what does it mean?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I heard you say that, and I was just like, I don't understand what that word means. Like, did they talk about that before when I left? And then...
So basically, it's music. It's in the scene, so it's actually part of the scene. So that music was playing at that time.
So it's not just something the audience hears. It's the characters hear it too.
So that's if it's just the audience hears that, then it's called non-diegetic music. So
did they have that in San Junipero when they were doing Heaven's a Place on Earth?
In the clubs?
Aye.
That
would count as well, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, that's probably the most intriguing thing anyone's ever said in this podcast ever.
I love it. A couple of more things up my sleeve, mate. So
remember I said the thing about Gamora last week? That was cool.
It was, aye. So cool that What's the Script picked it up and they realised that as well.
Great company.
So
do you know something that I loved about this, James? It was giving off quite a lot of Lost vibes with the helicopter in the trees and just the monster that nobody could see and all that. So it was giving me some good Lost vibes.
So the Lost rip-off Predator then, is that what you're saying?
Bring you back to a happy place then with the Lost vibes.
Happiest place.
Alright, so back to helicopter scene. So you don't really know that Dylan's shady at this point. But then when Dutch asks him about the backup on the helicopter, and he's like, "Nah, what backup? This is a one-way ticket." And he's like, "Oh, this isn't what it seems to be here." So you kind of get that kind of in the background of what's going to happen later on. So we land, and then we're at the compound. There's good couple of shots before we get to the compound. We get the camera angles from above. You can see them looking the team kind of doing the rolls and all that sort of stuff. But did you know that it wasn't McTiernan who directed the compound scene? See, when they go in and all hell breaks loose. It wasn't him.
I did not know that.
So apparently he was raging that's how it was shot, because it was just kind of like you say, things are blown up and all the rest of it. That's not how he wanted to do it. But for some reason he gave the kind of creative parts to the other guy, who I don't know his name, but it's something that I read. So
Michael Bay.
It could have been, mate. It could have been. But so that compound scene where they go in and with the hostages and try to get them and all that. What did you make of that scene, Colin?
It was just a bit wild, wasn't it? Is that the scene where there's the good quotes as well about the stick around and things like that? Yeah. So I was reading in the kind of trivia IMDb section, or favorite section, that Arnold improvised that line, I think.
This surprised me.
Also, he is a comedy genius after all.
Knock knock as well. I wrote a few of the ones down. And was it him no, it wasn't him that said it. I ain't got no time to bleed. It was somebody else, wasn't it?
That was Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
It's like they're dug in there like an Alabama tick.
It's quite a quotable montage as well as the crazy action.
I think it was Poncho. It was beside him at the time when he said, "I ain't got time to bleed," and he's like, "Oh, okay then," and he's just looking at him. Yeah. But that's a good quote. I ain't got time to bleed.
And then he's like, "There's not like fire grenades up on the hill," and he's like, "Have you got time to duck?"
You did say that. That's right. So, what do you think of that, Paul? That whole compound scene? What do you think of the explosions and all that sort of stuff?
It is like, see, now you say that it was directed, but not directed, but like it was like choreographed by somebody different. It does kind of show if you think about it now, because it's not really in keeping with the rest of the movie. It's just kind of the wild part where it's just like not mindless action, but it is over the top cheesy. It's like it's not a way like a special forces team would like insert in a sort of compound. Like Arnold starts it by like lifting up a truck that's like running a generator or something to roll down a hill and blows it up, and it's like that's a wee bit weird, but okay. But yeah, now that you're saying it is somebody different, then it does actually show. But I enjoyed it for it was. It was just dumb fun. And it introduces the character. The woman, I can't remember what her name is right enough.
Anna.
What's her name? Anna. That's right, Anna. And she's quite a big part of the movie. It ends up, and it just kind of gets rid of any opposition forces in the area, I suppose, for the rest of the movie. Then it's just literally the Predators left as their only opposition. So yeah, it was good. And I had the kind of wee subtext as well, where it's like Russian advisors for the guerrilla. So there's this kind of wee dig for that as well.
Aye.
But yeah, I enjoyed it very much. So like explosions, gunfire, just my jam, man. Love it. I
like one wee gripe with this wee bit though. So they're in there. They were still, under the false pretenses of getting the hostages and stuff, or get what's call them I can't remember who it was now.
The minister or something.
The cabinet minister, wasn't it? Aye. So basically, it was like he's no idea where he is in this compound, but yeah, he's quite happy to put explosives in the truck and then let it just dive into the building. And it doesn't really matter who's the casualties. Do you know what I mean? There was no kind of intel.
Aye, nobody scouted it or anything.
Aye. So
you know what? I didn't really think that until the last time I watched it, and I was like, what if that minister was in that building that he just blew up with that truck?
Aye, exactly.
You're right.
But even before that, when you get to compound, see when they're taking out sentries and they're climbing up things, even with the camera shot, in comparison to this, it's just pure fast paced. Don't get me wrong, I liked it, and it had to be done, but you couldn't really imagine it being any other way, because that's the way I've seen it for since I've seen it. So aye, So that's done. I've written down a few things here that, you know, I didn't get time to read the famous quotes and all that sort of stuff. The element of surprise with the explosions. And then we kind of take stock a wee bit, and then you find out that, you know, Dylan was lying all along. Basically, you know, he was in there to basically stop the invasion or something, isn't it? So
Yeah, because was it Mac or something? He says he found the prisoners or something, and well, if that minister was Central American, then I'm a Chinaman because these look like CIA spooks to me.
that's it.
That's when you kind of figure out that Dylan's been a bad boy.
Yep. So you're right. All the, you know, girls are they're all deep now. There's no opposition anymore, and basically find the old green berets, don't they? Skinned, and then they're like, who's done that? So that kind of leads us on to the first time we kind of meet Predator, where it's from his point of view, and we can see, you know, the heat from the body's pheromone, you know, that sort of thing. And before we get to the first kill, Mac, I think it was Mac, who stabs the scorpion off of Dylan's shoulder.
I actually think he's going to stab him in the back, and it's just a wee ding.
So, and he's like, shows him the scorpion. Now, when the Predator went down and grabbed the scorpion and had it in his hand, I never really kind of, when I first watched it, I wasn't really sure why Predator done that. Picked it up and looked at it, but then obviously when I was getting older and things, then I realised why it's happened, because he's now, you know, that they've killed that scorpion. They are now part of the game, and they're worthy of being hunted. So that was the way I took. I don't know how you guys took that, whether it was, you know, but you thought that, but my interpretation was that was their kind of entry to the game. The fact, you know, that's their way, and that they're free to be hunted, and then they have asserted dominance over this wee scorpion, and he's going to assert dominance over them. I don't know what you thought, Paul. Sorry, Colin, I'll let you go Colin first.
Colin gotta go first last time.
I think that level of analysis is maybe if you've seen this multiple times. So obviously the first time I seen it, to be honest, I thought it was because I think something this film did really well was creating the kind of tension of like they're being watched and you're kind of just waiting for something bad to happen. So I felt like that was just part of creating that suspense, as you said, that he was maybe going to stab him. I had like weird. Do you know how like obviously the Predator like mimics certain characters at different times, like the laugh and things like that. I had these weird like kind of fan theories in my head as I was watching it, because it also reminded me a wee bit of yes. It also reminded me a wee bit of The Thing at times, in terms of like the kind of distrust between the characters, and I had like obviously we hadn't seen the Predator yet, so I had this weird inkling that maybe one of the characters was the Predator and they were just kind of in hiding in like someone else's skin. Just like I think I had a weird theory when it came to The Thing as well.
I think you did die. I can't remember what it was, but you did die. I think you thought the dog was a good boy.
I think it's because you're hearing their voices when the Predators kind of surveying the scene as well.
Aye, I mean it is quite eerie. I mean it's basically stalking them. Do you know what I mean? And you can't see the camouflage on Predator was brilliantly done. I thought the effects were excellent. Do you know who was meant to play Predator?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, is that him?
Yep. Apparently he complained of dehydration, so they got the other guy in instead. So
see going back to the very first scene of the film, like, is it ever explained why like he was like dropped on the planet and like who dropped him off? Because obviously you just see it happen at the start. Is that ever like explained or looked into later on, or is it just how it was?
It's just how they get dropped off for the hunt.
But was there any particular reason why they were dropped on that particular part of Earth at that particular time, or was it just
Because they're dropped when it's the hottest time, and also when I think there's like war as well. They're attracted to war zones.
right? Okay, that was something I had in my mind to ask.
I don't think explain the war zone thing in this film. I think it's more they said I think it was the local mythology or something. They only come when it's like the warmest summer or something, and this has been the warmest summer yet. I think Anna says that.
Was this not the warmest year we've ever had on Earth? So are we getting a wee visitor soon?
Just put us out of misery.
I don't know. I've not read the comics or anything, but I don't know if this is true or not. I'm wondering if anyone has, they can let us know. But I don't know because the predator we see is a humanoid, and I don't know. I'm sure I read somewhere that the predators adapt to the kind of species that they're hunting. I could be totally wrong on that.
I think that's in the film, in the Predator, the one that's new, because they take DNA from all the species that they've hunted and take the best parts to evolve their species.
Because they're trying to get the DNA from the boy, isn't he? Because he's special.
I think he's got autism or something, but it's like higher function or something, so he's like the next step in evolution.
Aye. Just found that interesting. So we're kind of moving on now, and the predators hunting now, and we've got the first kill, and the kills come quite quickly, I think. And I think from this point in the film, it's quite quick, but no too slow, if that makes any sense. So Hawkins is the first one to go. Then we've got Blaine, Jesse Ventura. He gets done with a shoulder cannon. We've got Mac, who fires his minigun, all painless, at Predator, but he doesn't hit anything, or so he thinks. But then Mac dies with a blow to the head. Dylan gets his arm cut off, and he's speared. Or he's shot off, his arm's shot off and he's speared. Billy's killed off camera. We don't really see what happens to him. Poncho gets shot, and then Arnie takes a hit. So the question I want to ask you guys is, what was your favourite kill of the Commandos? Colin?
I was actually thinking about this when I was watching it. Not that I knew this would come up. It was the kind of question we like to ask. I thought Max, when he get just his head blown off, was the most shocking.
It's got to be.
Like, it's because you see it from behind as well, so you just see his head like come back on itself. So yeah, that was the best one, I would say.
Okay, Paul.
You can't pick that one. It's got
I would probably say
you can if you want.
I don't know. I quite like Carl Weathers' death just because it's all in like slow motion, like a Zack Snyder special, where the arm comes off and it actually looks pretty good. And then he gets speared, and it's like the kind of the guttural roar of him dying. I quite liked his. See Blaine's one. I don't know. I watched it and it kind of confused me a wee bit. You know, like when something gets shot and like blood spatters on him. What is that? What's the blood from?
Blood spatters on Blaine. Does Blaine not take a shot to the chest?
Aye, it does. Like something happens, but blood splatters on him, and then he turns around and he gets shot in the back.
I say it does.
From somebody else.
I don't know. Can't remember.
I wasn't sure, to be honest.
Well, I was going to go Mac. Is because you see that from from behind his head and you can see it explode. But I'm going to go with Blaine's death, simply because you don't really see the gun. You see the lights looking through him, but it's not till after you see Blaine lying on the ground that you see his chest completely open, and you can see that it's the wind just went right through. So I thought the effects of that was really good. And then you actually see what happened to him. So I'll go with Blaine's death for that one. But,
What I liked about Carl Weathers' one was even when he got hit the first time, he still kept fighting like he was gonna make it, and then doesn't quite make it.
Nah, because Dylan Kilweathers, basically he wanted revenge because all his men, died because of this predator. So he was there to get revenge anyway, and he was going to go. But you're right, a Zack Snyder moment with the gun coming round. It was true.
Rebel Moon ripped off Predator 2. God.
Aye, I would go with that, mate. So Arnie takes a hit as well. A bit of a cast. Skirmish happens. He ends up falling into the water, and then he swims to shore. He thinks he's safe until we see the predator diving down not too after, and then he's moving up onto the kind of shore bit. He's moving onto the kind of mud, the clay type stuff, and as he turns around, you see the predator swimming very fast, or moving very fast towards him, and he's basically going, I'm dead here. He's trying to hide as much as he can, and then when the predator comes up, he can't see him because he's the heat detection, the mud and the clay, has cooled him down. I found that, a very good scene. I didn't expect that to happen. And that was almost kind of like, all this time Predator's been kind of being camouflaged, hiding in the trees, taking people out one by one, but now he's found the match. He's camouflaged himself to beat Predator. So, Paul, what did you think of that scene when the Predator couldn't see Arnie?
I think it's like another iconic scene until you see him crawling about in the mud. It's the point where you kind of think, oh man, he's done for here. But then you realise he's got a weapon to fight back with. He can counteract the Predator's advantages. And how's he going to turn this to his advantage? He's just going to hide or whatnot. Then you watch it when you're younger, you're like, oh, that's so cool. And when you get older, it's like, I did not see the heat from his eyes. Because he's just sitting there staring the whole time, like,
I know, big white eyeballs, just looking at him.
But yeah, I think that plus the effects, just because like the Predator's cloak's failing, so it's kind of half on, half off, and it's coming and going. And I think it just looks really good.
Colin?
Yeah, I thought it was quite clever how, as you said, the Predator's been a chameleon. I think they described him as the whole time, and then it's kind of flipped back on itself. It's a wee bit, like Paul said, like simple though, that the Predator was that kind of easily fooled by the camouflage. It reminds me a wee bit of the. Do you remember the scene? I don't know. I don't think you were a fan actually. Paul might be. The first Hunger Games film where Peter, who's really good at like painting, he paints himself to look like the Rock, and he just kind of hides, lying on the shore. Do you remember that bit?
I do remember it. It was stupid.
Yeah, so it's the same kind of vibe there. I've got some thoughts on the reveal of what the Predator looks like, but obviously we'll get to that bit as we go. But I like that it just became at this point, it went from like this ensemble team to suddenly it's just what's his name? Turbo Man versus the Predator.
Aye, Mr. Freeze versus the Predator.
Aye, because like James was saying, they just got like they go from like all of them to none of them in like barely any time at all.
I don't know if it was stupid or simple as you called it. I think it was. I mean, I don't think it was easily filled as such. I think it was just the Predators get a lot of weapons in his arsenal, and as we kind of later on see, the helmet allowed him to see movement. And that's what mud does and the clay and things. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger had to sit, cover himself in that for days. Apparently, as the trivia said, because it was so hot, and basically at that time he was having to wear the clay in the mud. It cooled him down. So I think it was all scientifically proven. not the predators are real or anything, but
Yes, science.
So
I don't agree with the logic of this movie at all.
So moving on then. So basically, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dutch has found a way to try and combat the predator, and then we'll get it's like the kind of Rocky moment, Rocky 4 moment. I just looked at it. I mean, this is Rocky 4 moment. It's if they're training for the final battle. It's like Iron Drago, and we've got Rocky, doing their stuff. Arnold Schwarzenegger's kind of setting up the traps and whatever, and he's painting himself, and we've got. I don't actually know what Predator was doing. Actually, he was. I don't know. Cameron, you guys remember what Predator was doing at this point?
I think it was his tea time. I think he was just chilling, having some skull soup or something. I don't know.
He was watching some Seismic Cinema review of Rebel Moon.
Aye, so I don't know what he was doing, but either way, he was doing something. It did that kind of scene we were doing from different angles of them.
I think he was on a Skype call to his missus back home, just saying, "Yeah, it's all going good, honey."
Aye, he's going to come and get me. I've crash landed on this planet. So the final scene, Arnie does a bit of damage to the predator, and then there's a to and fro a wee bit. Predator can't find him. He's getting frustrated. You can tell. He's just kind of shooting at random things, hoping to get a hit. And then Arnie again falls into the water. And by this point, he's lost his cloak, his invisibility cloak.
Hey.
A third of the Deathly Hallows. So basically, Predator gets him. Oh, before that, sorry. Question I want to ask you: if you're going to hunt this predator down, right? Would you ever go into a confined area to kill him? Because that's what Arnie did. No, he could have crawled into a wee space and then realised that the green blood was dripping on him, and it's like, nah, why would you go in there? I didn't agree with that.
I don't know. I think obviously, like you see throughout the movie, like the predator's quite adept, like running, like jumping about the trees and stuff, quite agile. So I think fighting him out in the open would be a mistake. But I think that was maybe a bit too confined. I think narrowing him down to an area where he couldn't use the trees is an advantage, possibly.
Arnie gets basically flung against a tree, and then what happens next is the predator takes his mask off because he realises it's useless anyway because he's lost his cloak and all that sort of stuff. But he takes his mask off, and I don't know what you thought of this, Colin. You said you had thoughts on this. I'm going to come to you here. What did you think when Predator took his mask off? Did you think?
Obviously, there was a line you spoke about earlier, but I don't know. I think it's a feature of these kind of movies that the mystery is always better than the reveal. Like, if you think of, do you remember the creature in the true form of the creature in the kind of original It series?
Yes.
That was like, that film's terrifying until that bit, and then you're just like, eh. And what's another example? Like, I think Jaws is scarier when you can't see the shark as well, and then when you do see the shark, it's not as realistic. So it was a bit like that. I don't know. And obviously, the film alludes to the fact the appearance is a bit weird with like the famous quote as well. So it's not a particular criticism of this film. It's just it's a feature of a creature feature, isn't it? That the suspense and the mystery is always better than the actual reveal. That's just my opinion, though.
No, I understand that.
I think because this is James's pick, you should say the line.
No, James is to be a good boy.
I can't say the line.
Say the line, Bart.
You one ugly motherfucker.
No, I agree with you. It's the suspense. It builds up. It's it's the fear of the unknown type of thing, isn't it? You don't know what's underneath the suit, and then you see it. Maybe it's better that way. Like Darth Vader was scary, wasn't he? With the when he took the mask off and things, it was a bit of a presence. Took the mask off, but I've written down here that the mask came off with a sign of respect, because I think that the Predator realised that, you know, this guy's giving his all here, and I've got all these weapons. I'm going to take the mask off, and I'm going to fight him hand-to-hand combat. You know, go down to his level, because that's more of a fair fight then. And as you see, we take the helmet off, it's basically kind of just all red, isn't it? There's no kind of, it's just kind of silhouettes you see. So in the Predator's eyes, it's more of a fair fight. I don't know what you thought about that, Paul, if you thought that as well.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that, I know it's like when you come up against a worthy adversary to make it a fair fight, but I feel like, you know, he's been cheating this whole time to thingy down the numbers, so, and eventually he's like, oh, I'll make it a fair fight now. If it was a fair fight, I think still the Predator should have knocked his block off. I think when you see the Predators in like later movies and that, it's like one punch from the Predator would have been like Arnie's head clean off his shoulders. I think he's a bit underpowered in this movie compared to what he's built up to be in other movies.
I mean, he's over 7 foot Predator, isn't he?
Something like that, aye. And you can tell that, like, I think the actual creature design itself is like outstanding, and it really does show like how iconic the character is, that it's stood the test of time and spawned so many sequels and franchises and stuff, because it could easily have been like just a daft movie, people run about the jungle and having a terrible creature like going after them. So you really had to make it on point to stand out, and I think they did. And I think just on the creature design itself, I don't know, I've heard this somewhere before and I could be totally lying, but I think they had a different design for the Predator. And then I think somebody was on a plane with James Cameron, and he's like, yeah, what do you think? And James Cameron was like, oh, add these mandibles on, like the wee, I say mandibles? I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
Is it? Aye. And then he added them, and it kind of completed the look, made it a lot scarier. So, yeah, creature design wise, love it. Even though that wasn't at all related to the question you asked me, I'm really sorry. I just kind of went off on a tangent there.
That's all right. It's all welcome, man.
It's Friday. I'm tired.
It's all in the reflexes.
Hey.
What reflexes?
Wrong film.
So I did like the quote at the end of the film. Well, before, you know, the Predator, you know, would rather self-destruct than be killed. Arnold Schwarzenegger asked him, "What the hell are you?" And then he repeats it back to him, "What the hell are you?" Because he's obviously not came across a big army before, do you know what I mean? So that was a good bit.
What the hell are you?
And then Predator does his press the self-destruct button. Massive explosion.
He gets squashed by a log, doesn't he, or something? By a large trap. Aye. Well, that's when he gets trapped, isn't it? He gets trapped and kicks a log or something, and it brings a big log down. Aye, that's right. Sorry.
Aye, and you can see the green blood kind of oozing at him. Then self-destruct button, blah blah blah. Massive explosion. The fact that you can see the explosion from the helicopter, I'll repeat that. Sorry, from the chopper. You see the explosion. It's like what the nuclear bomb has went off.
Aye, and it's quite good when he's running away too. He's got Billy's laugh playing as a recording, doesn't he? Like, that's the only thing you can hear is just a laugh kind of echoing out through the forest.
Aye, you can just see it only running away. So that's the end of it. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger's on the chopper going home, and that's the end of it. The credits roll, man. So, before I know we're kind of wrapping up shortly, I just want to see what kind of Paul already spoke about the special effects and the costume design. Did you like the costume design as well, Colin, or the Predator?
To be honest, I probably need to see it again, or I should look at it just to get the full detail, because I've only watched it the once. But it wasn't a criticism of the design of the character. To me, it was more just I prefer these kind of movies when you don't know what's happening. I always feel like things never quite live up to, like, I don't know. It's just that whole fear of the unknown, isn't it?
Aye.
So I would need to see it again. I'm not as familiar with it as you guys are.
See when it was going through the film, though, like see when it was kind of dropping me hints at what was going on. Did you quite enjoy that? You know, like when they come across, was the CIA crew at the helicopter? Did they find them before or after the camp got assaulted?
Was it not after?
Was it after? I couldn't remember because I remember it's like, I didn't think there was any other operators working in this area or any other operations, and we better get these hostages or this could happen to them or something. I thought that was before. I can't remember, but there's like kind of wee hints that something was going on throughout the movie. Like they found the skinned soldiers and people were hearing things or looking at things. They thought they could see things and they couldn't quite make out what was going on.
Yeah, I like the mystery of it and the kind of unraveling. So we didn't really touch too much on the skinned bodies because that was probably the most shocking part of the movie to me. Like seeing that must have freaked you out as children because I didn't find it particularly pleasant to look at this age. You know what I mean?
I was going to come into that because one of the bits I was going to come into the skinned bodies and the scene where the Predator rips Billy's spine out on the kind of cliff top, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
That was the Predator's. That's what the Predator collected. It was trophies, wasn't it? It was basically the kind of skulls, wasn't it? Of the victims. But I wouldn't say it's pretty cool. But it was as a kid, that was pretty cool. It was pretty terrifying. But but that's
I think that's the kind of thing now they do in the games now. Like, see if you're ever hunting humans and like these Alien versus Predator games and that, it's always ripping the skull and the spines out. That's a kind of iconic move, so that's where it all kind of stemmed from. So it was like I said, it was cool right enough. It was bloody cool.
Because they kept asking like what did they do with the bodies, or like where did the bodies go? That happened a few times during the film.
I think Dylan kept going, "Oh, it's just a couple of guys running about trying to freak us out and all that." He was just in total denial about the whole thing.
Aye, and then it was Anna who spotted the blood, wasn't it, on the trees and stuff, on the plants.
Aye, and then she kind of brought in a wee bit of mythology as well, which kind of added to the mystery of the Predator, saying that people in their village would come back skinned and all that.
Aye, that's right.
Can you not see the kind of similarities with the thing a wee bit? How like it's like an ensemble that quickly gets torn away, and then you've got the mystery of what the creature would look like before that horrible scene with the dogs. I don't know. I felt it had kind of similar vibes of like Isolation and like down to like the last couple of people at the end and all that kind of stuff.
Would you stop trying to push your thing theory on this movie?
No, I think there is similarities there in terms of like the suspense, distrust, and like alien being taken down.
To be fair, like the mistrust, like just nobody trusted Dylan. Like in the thing, nobody trusted nobody in that film.
Yeah. But to me, and it's my opinion, there was bits of there was themes within the film that I thought were kind of similar to the thing. It's a different setting, obviously, but it's still an isolated setting of they're in the rainforest and they can't get back out.
Yeah, I agree with the isolation part of it. Aye, in terms of the no trusting each other or whatever. I mean, these guys have been working bloody every operation going. They trust each other's. It's like a brotherhood there, but.
Mm-hmm.
Don't trust
you see how Max Carapace and his Blaines gets killed, man? It's like
they're besties.
This big hard man's almost inconsolable.
I think at this time, Paul, you can give me the quote again. What does Max say when he went to avenge Blaine's death?
I'm gonna have me some fun.
That's the one. Right. Okay.
I wrote down what he said when he died. He was a good soldier. Then he said, "My friend," something like that.
You said he was my friend. Aye.
Yeah.
Before I do wrap up and ask for your seismic stars, guys, what did you think of the end credits?
Something at a sitcom.
Aye. I mean, it didn't annoy me as such. It just kind of like they were just laughing. I've written down here, everyone's laughing. with the exception of Arnie. Arnie just kind of was like, just looking at the camera, but everybody's like,
I
like,
think see like all that stuff. I feel like everyone filmed their wee bits just like kind of offset, and I think Arnie's one is actually just a frame from the movie itself at some point, as if he just like, nah, I'm not doing that.
well, I hope so, because it didn't. I don't think it was needed.
But it did kind of cheapen it a wee bit because it's like there's like quite a serious movie, and then it's just like everyone's happy smile at the end, as if like, wait, it was just a movie.
I know
It helped. It helped me learn some of the names ahead of the review.
And then
what are the names again, Colin?
Well, you've got. Let's see how many characters I can name. So you've got Dutch.
Without looking at Wikipedia.
You've got Dutch.
Or your notes.
You've got Mac. You've got Blaine. You've got Hawkins.
I can see you looking at the.
I'm not looking at anything. I'm looking right at you.
Anybody can look at IMDb.
I'm not looking at anything. You got Mac, Blaine, Hawkins. You've got the other guy. You've got Carl Weathers, who's called Dylan, but it's actually his surname, not his first name. And there's some other people as well. Poncho. And I've run out of names now. Oh, there's the other guy, the Ventura guy.
You said him?
He's Blaine.
He's Ventura. Aye, that's what I said.
Yep. Studied it.
I think the fact there was quite a lot of characters, and if we look at this in comparison to Rebel Moon, we couldn't remember barely any of their names. There's a couple I'm not 100% on, having only watched it fully once, but most of the characters I remember their names, and I think that shows that they did a good job with them, and that they were each of them memorable in their own right.
Absolutely.
And Colin, which one was a sexual Tyrannosaurus?
Can't remember.
Blaine.
Colin looks like he doesn't understand that reference.
Blaine.
Yeah, it's Blaine, apparently. Go with that.
One other thing before I know we're kind of over the hour now, guys, but one question I want to ask you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this. So, in the compound, there are men with weapons. Yes.
Yes.
Why didn't the Predator attack them? Or why was he not? I don't know. I don't understand that part of it.
They weren't worthy.
Sorry?
They weren't worthy.
Possibly. Maybe they hadn't done anything yet to be part of the game. Possibly.
I was maybe thinking that he's been tracking down these special forces guys. They're kind of like the best of the best. And then these guerrilla fighters, maybe they just kind of look like a disorganized rabble and maybe not worth the hunt.
Aye.
Or maybe he thought there was too many of them and he was waiting for the two forces to collide so he could have a more manageable number to hunt, possibly.
Aye.
That was my thinking behind it.
Maybe it's just a plot hole.
Maybe you shut the hell up.
There's no plot holes in this film, apart from the
plot hole in Blaine's chest.
Right, boys, time for Seismic Stars. Colin, come to you first, since you're the newbie to the film.
Okay, I'm gonna go 8.5.
Okay. So where does it lose marks then? Okay, you don't have to answer that. You do it to me all the time, so it's fine. 8.5, that's a good score, mate.
Yeah, it's definitely improvement on last week anyway.
Yeah.
I think the nuances and some of the themes, and like it's like when you rewatch a film, you get like the kind of, once you know the basic plot, you focus more on like the foreshadowing and the bits and pieces, and I think maybe it might gain half a point as it goes on. Like, we always talk about how I'm not a massive like action movie fan, but that didn't really bother me in this film. But I also think it obviously had elements of science fiction and horror as well, so it was a good kind of combination of the different areas. It's definitely one I could see myself rewatching, like, as just like if you want to fling a movie on. But Arnold gave a really good performance in it. I keep saying Arnold like he's my pal in first name terms. I thought Carl Weathers gave a great performance as well. I like the other actors. I like the setting. I like the tension, and there's quite a bit of gore as well. So yeah, it had a lot of things going for it, and I'm glad I finally watched it the whole way through.
Yarp. Paul, what about yourself?
Sergeant Angel.
10 for me, baby. Has to be, man. Like this is in the kind of bracket where like the thing for me. Yeah, like you're saying, this movie it's like a good length. It's not too long, and it does exactly what it says in it. And it's just quite a clever movie. I like how it just starts off as one thing and evolves into another. It's action movie first half, then it's like a science fiction movie, creature feature the second half. Like saying, the effects blew me away when I was younger. They still stick with me. Like, I can remember the first time I seen the heat vision, the first time I seen the cloaking, and I thought it was just the best thing ever. The cast are great. They all have like a good wee chemistry together. Although I heard that Billy Boy is a bit of a psycho set.
See the one that needed a security guard?
I had to hire a bodyguard, a security guard just for him or something. Aye. He seemed quite chill too, which is quite surprising. But yeah, I just really like the cast. And yeah, pacing, creature design, perfect, absolutely perfection. So 10 out of 10 for me, man. What about you?
Was it not more than that? Did they not? Was it not that they were only going to get the film insured if he had a bodyguard? So otherwise, the film wouldn't have went ahead.
Probably somewhat. Aye.
I'm sure that's what it said.
Psychopath. What about you, James? What are you going to give it?
It's a 10 out of 10 for me, mate. It's
yeah, man.
It's perfect. It's I didn't even mention the score either, man. Do you know what I mean? Like even the kind of the start of the film, the build up with it's brilliant, man. Like I say, the cast is star-studded. The direction, brilliant. Costume design, special effects. I think the CGI holds up, man. I'm going to go out here and say that. I think it's a way ahead of its time. 1987, man, way ahead of its time. But never seen anything like that. Well, I hadn't anyway. So, man, it's phenomenal. And it's why these films that, you know what, I'll watch it at least 2-3 times a year, man. So I already watched it once already in January. It's getting to watch it again and again, man, because I'm never tired of watching it.
No, it was good. I hadn't watched it in ages, right enough, and I'm glad we did this so I could watch it again.
Aye.
Just because you were saying about the music there, and earlier on I never actually got to answer the Scorpion question. We kind of scripted about that. Like when he was doing this, when he goes to pick up the Scorpion, I think that's the first time you see like the alien hand picking up the Scorpion, and the music kind of has a big flare in it, as if it's like, whoa, what is this? It's actually picked up the Scorpion. So I thought it was maybe a plot device to show that what they're actually dealing with wasn't human. Like it was an actual creature rather than a humanoid kind of thing. Jason, because at first you only see the outline as if it's a humanoid kind of creature, but this is, you actually see its big claws and the size of it. So I thought that Scorpion thing was maybe a device just to show what they're kind of dealing with, the kind of stakes.
Aye.
Anyway, sorry, that's nothing to do with ratings.
Did I not ask you that? Sorry, did I?
We kind of went off on a different thing, but I was like, I want to say that.
Sorry, man, it's me being a rubbish host.
Sorry.
I think you've done a good job.
Cheers, mate. So good. So 10, 9.5. Did you give it?
It was 8.5, but 8.5. that's with the caveat that you must get what I mean though. Like the more familiar you are with the film, the more history you've got with it, you're probably naturally going to give it a higher score versus one you've maybe just seen.
Yeah, you haven't got the same history that we have with it, so maybe in a couple of years' time, once you've seen it a few more times, and you see the other films that add to the the kind of lore of it, then you'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think it is a
Okay,
big part of why we started doing this and why I enjoy it is checking out films that I probably wouldn't have had the motivation to check out otherwise. So it does give you that incentive.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give a few shout outs to any the
So-
folk who replied back to us?
First of all, the Multiverse Kids, we asked it out there just to see people's favourite quotes and what they thought of the movie. So we just got a couple of gifs here and there and a couple of responses. So the Multiverse Kids show, which is the Geeky Dads Kids, they just sent the gif of the high five. What is that called? Like an arm five or something? So they just sent a gif of that. Dissect That Film sent a wee gif saying, "If it bleeds, we can kill it." Does anyone want to do it in the voice?
Colin?
No.
No.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. Something like Ivan Drago there.
I can drag over reference tonight.
Let's see, what else was there? Dads in That podcast said, an interesting fact I remember is Peter Cullen did the voice of Jungle Hunter Predator, just wasn't credited for it. But quote-wise, it's Blaine with, "I ain't got time to bleed." So Peter Cullen is the voice actor that did Optimus Prime, the Transformer movies, the Michael Bay ones.
All right.
So he's got a really iconic voice. I think he did the voice lines for the Predator when he was like kind of imitating and stuff. I think possibly.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Jerry,
You guys are weird.
hey, give it time, man. You'll be whispering shit too. Jerry Zero said, "So you cooked up a story, dropped the 6 of us in the meat grinder."
That's right.
And then we stuck it in our post just seeing last if anybody had any other things to say about it. And Kevin and Jason from the KJ&A podcast said, "This was an absolute banger growing up. The time frame, the story takes place, the adversary our protagonists are up against. It stands out in the sci-fi action genre. For specifics, I'd say how do you say the Yautja are some of the best designed creatures and their weapons. Epic."
Yeah, that's the actual name in this. The Yautja
Species.
Yeah.
You know what? Look from the Nostalgia podcast I did one, and he actually explained the kind of etymology and how you pronounce it and all that. And I cannot remember what that is.
No, I
That's
know
all the
that.
big words tonight.
I don't know. I'm tired. I sometimes say things.
Right. Okay. So we'll call it a day there. So that was. So you going to give a happy birthday, Paul?
Aye.
Me?
Aye.
Sure. So if they've listened this long, Mike and Tabby, you better hand this over to Gunnar. So we're shouting out a happy 10th birthday to Gunnar, who is the son of Mike and Tabby at the Grey's Taproom podcast. He's an awesome wee guy, and Mike and Tabby host a great show. So Gunnar, if you're listening, happy birthday, wee man. And if you're over in Scotland anytime soon, we'll take you wild haggis hunting. Cheers.
And if you don't want to listen to the whole pod, you could just go to the end and skirt back a minute.
Aye. Happy
But
birthday.
obviously you'll have to listen to this to hear that.
time traveling.
Back to the future.
The Grey's Taproom podcast. I listened to the one they did in Starship Troopers the other day. It was pretty decent.
Oh, I need to
I
check
still
that out.
listen to that. I still listen to that because Tabby loves it, doesn't she? And Mike was a bit on the fence with it, I think.
Aye.
Awesome. Yeah, I need to listen to that.
See, out of all the films that we've watched, Starship Troopers was probably one of my favourite ones that I've watched specifically for the pod that I hadn't seen.
So was
The joys of podcasting, eh?
Was the big trouble not China? No. All right. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna give you a wee synopsis on next week. So next week we are recording is it number 4 Seismic Soccer?
Number 4, yeah.
Well, number 4 Seismic Soccer. We are still kind of current with our topics yet. We're going to put them onto Twitter Instagram and stuff, you can give us a wee comment. But we've got Sean on from Review It Yourself, and his topic of choice for the pod is going to be playing out from the back. So you can let us know your thoughts on that.
Which is quite interesting for a Middlesbrough fan, because I thought they just hoop it out from the back. So I'm quite interested where he's getting this from.
I thought they played Route 1 football.
Sam Allardyce special.
Do you think he'll still want to come on after the Chelsea result?
Yeah. Ammunition for the gun.
They did well in the first leg anyway.
I'd quite like to get
we can talk about that in Seismic Soccer number 4, don't you worry.
So Seismic Soccer number 4, we'll record it next week, so that's the next episode. If you want to check out our previous episodes, you can go back onto YouTube, folks, and check out Rebel Moon, check out Willy Wonka, or Wonka rather, and any other previous ones that you've done. Okay, so I think we're going to call it a day there, unless there's anything else.
What's our tagline?
I'm just going to say that you butted in there.
You just said if there anything else.
Before I talk about that, sake.
I don't remember the last time anyone ever said the tagline.
So we are Seismic Cinema, and we believe in the power of escapism. So there you go, Colin.
Thank you.
All right. So okay. See you later, guys.
Cheers.
See you guys. Get to the chopper.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!